Sean, what are you doing? Did you not hear me say we're not taking Rubik's Cubes in the car today? To which he responded, you didn't tell me I couldn't take this Rubik's Cube. Hi, and welcome to Autism Literalism. This week we're talking about literalism. And since Dad's doing the video, it means things probably didn't quite go right. People on the spectrum often have a hard time understanding jokes or getting sarcasm because they have a tendency to take everything literally. Add to that a son who has a high propensity to always be right, and you have a recipe for disaster. Recently, we had an experience that I'm not particularly proud of. It was a Saturday and we had a hockey game. And you know how it is. I've been telling everybody for 30 minutes, make sure the gear is ready, make sure we have everything ready to go because we have to leave in 30 minutes. And yet when it's time to go, everyone is shocked. Shocked, I tell you, that we need to get everything in the car and ready. So as we're scrambling to get everything in the car, Sean says, Dad, can I take this Rubik's Cube with me in the car today? I said, Sean, no, not today. So we continue to put stuff in the car and assemble the gear, and Sean comes downstairs a couple of minutes later with a different Rubik's Cube that one of his friends had let him borrow for the weekend. He said, can I take this Rubik's Cube with me? I responded, Sean, let's just get in the car and get to the hockey game. So imagine my surprise a couple of minutes later when we're finally got everything in the car and it's time to go, I see Sean getting into the car with this second Rubik's Cube. I said, Sean, what are you doing? Did you not hear me say we're not taking Rubik's Cubes in the car today? To which he responded, you didn't tell me I couldn't take this Rubik's Cube. Now, it was at this point that I probably should have been Disney Dad and realized my kid has autism, he has a tendency to take things literally, and so he wasn't intentionally disobeying me. But was I Disney Dad? Oh no. I said, Sean, you're telling me with your big brain that you can put together that I said no to the first Rubik's Cube, that also meant no to the second Rubik's Cube? And since I came at him, he came right back at me because that's how I've modeled it for him. We're going to hear from Sean on how he felt in that situation, then maybe come back and talk about how I could have done things a little bit differently. Hey Sean, so do you remember a couple of weeks ago when we were getting ready for the hockey game and you'd asked to take the Rubik's Cube and I said no, and then you ended up taking that, you wanted to try to take that second cube?
Well, I didn't want to try to, but I actually did it.
Yeah. And so, can you talk about what was going through your mind when I'd already said no to the first cube, but I maybe didn't specifically say no to the second cube?
Well, I was thinking, you didn't actually say specifically that I couldn't take the second cube, so why not?
And so in your brain, I hadn't specifically told you no to the second cube, and so you thought it was all right.
Yeah.
How did you feel when I yelled and was asking you how you couldn't put those two and two together?
Very, very angry.
Angry. And how did you respond?
Well, same way you did.
Exactly. So, what is something that maybe I could have done differently in that situation that would have helped you better understand that I didn't want you to take any Rubik's Cubes that day?
Take at least maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds to think about it.
Yeah, that would have been a good idea, huh?
Or at least even 5.
Is there anything you think you could have done differently to maybe help diffuse that situation or make it less of a blow up?
Ask Dad and ask you and maybe warn you I don't understand what you mean when you do that. So will you please give me an answer? Yeah.
maybe ask to clarify if you don't quite understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Sean. First, pick your battles. Man, oh man, does Katie like to say this. And man, oh man, do I like to not listen to her. I'm pretty sure in another life, I was a battlefield general who didn't give an inch on anything. Too often, I fight every single one of these little skirmishes because I see them as having an effect on the broader outcome and the broader campaign that is raising children. But by fighting every single one of these skirmishes, it wears both me and Sean down, and we become weaker because of it. So pick your battles. Was blowing up over bringing the Rubik's Cube in the car really worth it? Probably not. Second, patience and empathy. Two words that sound about like nails on a chalkboard to my brain. Unfortunately, my weakness on these two very important traits leads to bad situations becoming worse real fast. If I would just take a minute to think about what I'm saying is being interpreted and processed by somebody with a different brain and a different set of life experiences, I'm fairly confident it would lead to more situations being diffused rather than made worse. Just like we talked about in the birthday video, sometimes we have to take a break from the situation to process and reset. If we want our kids to do that, we should be willing to practice what we preach. Finally, when you make a mistake, own it. We all make mistakes, and I think it's important that our kids see that us as parents, we also make mistakes. But more importantly than them seeing us make mistakes is seeing how we react and handle those mistakes. And that means accepting responsibility for our choices and accepting the consequences of those choices. Since the day my boys were born, since literally their first day on this earth, I've taught them there are consequences
To our actions.
Not blaming others, but accepting responsibility and asking for forgiveness is perhaps one of the most important things that we can teach our kids. Because we've all sinned and we all need grace. If we can teach and model that for them, then we can literally say we've taught them at least one thing.